Hello everyone, today I'm just doing a real quick, short and sweet lesson on how to make a graph in Microsoft Excel. I am far from a master on using Microsoft Excel, but one thing I am trying to get better at is creating graphs on it because it's a really useful tool for when you're creating a lab write-up and you need to insert a professional looking graph in your lab write-up. And so it's something that I want you guys to practice at in this class and actually use in this class when we do like our full-blown lab write-ups. So to create a graph in Excel, it's actually not that difficult once you start to get the hang of it. On the bottom of your computer in the dock, there should be something that says Microsoft Excel. You give that a click, and that'll open up this program. And I've put some data in already, but this is called a workbook. And I put some data in already, and you can see it here. In my first column, I have time, and that's measured in seconds. And this is my independent variable, and it's being compared to the distance at which a car travels. Okay, so basically I made up some experimental data where I was measuring the distance that a car traveled based upon how much time it took. Okay, so it's basically a position versus time graph. Okay, so in your first column, you're going to have your independent variable, whatever it is that you're using, okay, for whatever the case is, and then your second column is your dependent variable, and I just made some numbers up. Now to create a graph with these numbers, I'm going to take my mouse, I'm going to drag it over the data, highlight it, and then I'm going to go up to the top and click Insert Chart. Insert Chart. And there's all these different types of charts that you can actually create, but typically in this class we're going to use an XY scatter. So I'm going to give that a click, and then you have some choices on what type of XY scatter you want to use. And I want to use a marked scatter. So this guy right there, I'm going to give that a click, and already it has made a chart for me. How nice. So one thing I like to do right off the bat with my chart is delete this little legend over here that says Series 1. And just get that off the chart. It makes it a little bit cleaner, a little bit nicer to read. The next thing you may say to yourself is, well, dang, I always thought good graphs had a title and had their axes labeled. And clearly this graph does not have that. And so that's a really good point. If you want to put a title on your graph and label the axes, you want to click this button that says Toolbox. Okay, so I had it open already, but now I give it a click Toolbox, and you get this thing that says Formatting Palette. You've got all this stuff here, but basically what you're really interested in is the thing that says Chart Options. And underneath it says Titles, and I'm going to click Chart Title. That's going to be the title of this graph, and I'm going to call this a Position versus Time Graph. And that'll be my title. And you can see it was written in right up there. Then I'm going to label my horizontal axis, which again, horizontal axis is my independent variable, and my independent variable in this case is time, which is measured in seconds. So I'll put that in parentheses there, time measured in seconds. And then my vertical axis, that was my distance, which I was measuring that in meters. Okay, distance measured in meters. Right. And so now I've got my title, I've got my axes labeled. I'm missing one last thing, and that's really the trend line. There's no connection with these points. So to add a trend line, you just click one of the data points, and you actually right-click on it, and you click Add Trend Line. And you've got some choices in which type you add, and it really does the one that, at least on my computer, does the one that I want. But if you click on Type, you want to click a linear trend line, and you click OK, and there you go. You've got yourself a graph that can then be exported and inserted into, say, Microsoft Word. I believe it can even be put into a Google Doc, which is a lot of times how you'll submit like full-blown lab reports. So it's really nice. And now you've got this really nice-looking chart that can be inserted into your lab report compared to trying to make it from hand, and it just turns out to be super sloppy. That takes care of this video. I'll see you guys later.